Right, so we have some runaway wishes. We have Kyle and Dorit squashing their issues. And we have Sutton and Garcelle clocking Kyle's ass once again. I'm here for it. Are you? Let me know. What's up, everyone? This is Tierney, and I'm back with another recap of Real Housewives Beverly Hills, Season 14, Episode 9. It's called Beachy Keen. So the episode opens up with Kyle. She calls Portia, who I still can't believe is old enough to drive. We saw that girl when she was a baby, but beautiful girl. She calls Portia. She says she's enjoying her Porsche and that she's going to have lunch with her sisters. And Kyle tries to invite herself to the lunch multiple times. She was not getting the hint. She kept saying, oh, so where are you gonna go? I don't know. When are you gonna go? I don't know. Well, can you tell me? Sure, but I don't know. Girl, they don't want you there, and that's okay. So Kyle then says in her confessional that the sisters like to just have their alone time, and especially during this hard time with the family, that they are really just leaning on each other. And I'm like, well, girl, let them do that. So Kyle hangs up with her and she calls Erica on FaceTime. And basically, Erica says, you know, there are way too many people involved with Kyle and Dorit's issues, and it really needs to just stay between them. Then it goes to Kyle's confessional, and she says this is the worst she's ever felt in this group, and she just doesn't have the strength. And granted, Kyle has been through some things, especially in the past couple years. I know she lost her best friend. I know she's having issues in her marriage and she's separated. I know that. I can appreciate that. But it's the lack of acknowledgement that she has given other people during their difficult times that is astounding to me. So, you know, I'm thinking of Lisa Vanderpump when that season that they ran her off the show was that same season. Lisa Vanderpump was dealing with the loss of her brother, the Sutton loss. And where was, you know, the accountability and the empathy then? You know, it wasn't there. So Kyle says in the confessional, this is the worst she's felt. She says in her conversation with Erica, I've had my marriage questioned, my personal life questioned, and now my integrity, that's where I draw the line. And I was like, integrity? Is the integrity and character in the room with us? Because I don't see it. But anyway, so she was like, that's where I draw the line. And she said, I'm going to have one more conversation with Dorit. I'm going to say what I need to say. And if she doesn't like it, then we don't have to move forward. We can move forward and be good, or we don't have to. And I'm just going to disengage, but I will not talk about this again. And I said, thanks, girl, because we're tired. So she said that to Erica. Erica kind of reiterates, hey, we want this to stay between you guys. Fine. So then next scene, Bose and Dorit meet up. So they both look fab. And that's like one of my favorite things to do is to get all cute and dressed up and go meet up with my friend who's also cute and dressed up and have some drinks. I love it. It's so fun. And like pretend that there's like a reality show camera like watching us, whatever. Am I the only one that like feels like that? So Bose and Dorit meet up. And they're complimenting each other and excited to just kind of get the conversation going. And right away, Bose was like, okay, so should we talk about you first? And I was like, girl, you're better than me because we got to have some give and take. And I feel like the majority of what we've seen has been so Dorit-centric. I get it's a storyline. I pray. It seems like they're still friends. So I pray that Dorit is being reciprocal in this relationship and also hearing Bose out and being there for Bose and things like that. But I get that this is like a main story right now. So Bose said, you know, do you want to talk about you first? Dorit says no. And then Bose says, are you sure? I'm feeling some energy. It feels like you need to get something off your chest right now. And so like before Bose even got that fully out of her mouth, Dorit's like, okay, girl, yeah. So about me. So then Dorit just jumps in and starts to talk about her. And Dorit says, Dorit says, she's been feeling like the walls are caving in on her and she's been just trying to hold things up, and she just doesn't, she's basically just feeling exhausted by the situation, and it's just really weighing on her. And Dorit says in a confessional that Bose has become her ride or die. In the conversation, Bose asks, hey, this one thing's been bugging me. Every time I talk to Kyle, she says she has no idea of what has happened in your marriage with PK, but then when I talk to you, it's a different story, and it's and you're basically saying that Kyle has known a lot about what's happening with you. So can you clear that up? What's happening? And Dorit says, back when we started having problems, I talked to a select few people, Kyle included, and told her about my problems in my relationship. And we see the flashback of it that happened the prior year. And Bo says in a confessional that Kyle's essentially a liar, and was like, okay, so you're lying about the depth of your relationship with PK. You're lying about whether or not you knew about PK and Dorit's problems. And if you think that you're trying to keep yourself from looking bad, like, you're looking even worse now. So I just, once again, Bose is correct, and I just really enjoy her takes. Like, everything she says, I'm like, yep. Like, no notes, yep. So I love her pulse on all these situations, especially Kyle's behavior. And so then Dorit says back in the conversation that she says that Dorit, PK, and PK's sponsor were in her backyard, and it was the sponsor that recommended that they take some time apart. I'm sorry, what? Bose had the reaction of me, like, huh? What? And Dorit said she was so taken aback that she didn't even think to ask, is this the sponsor's idea or is this really PK's idea? I think we all know that was PK's idea. That had to be PK's idea, because if it wasn't, he should have checked his friend right there. Like, bro, I appreciate the concern, but back up. This is my marriage. Know your place. But if he was kind of like, oh, okay, you're right. No, he basically set up his friend and prompted him and told him what to say, because he's too much of a coward to say it to his wife's face. So that's my read on the situation. Let me know below if you believe that this sponsor did in fact say this on their own and PK just went along with it, or if we see each other. Let me know. So Dorit says, hey, I protected my relationship with PK. There were so many things that went on that I didn't tell anyone, that I didn't tell my parents. And Bose pretty much acknowledges that is such a burden to have to hold all these things in, going through so many things, not really opening up to many people. And, because you're protecting your husband, and then what does he do? He turns around and wants to file for separation. What a smack in the face. So Bose was saying, I would just be asking for my years back. All the years that I spent protecting you and protecting our marriage, I would want those back. I would want my years back. And then the scene closes with Dorit saying, who the have I been married to? And then that made me think of the Who the Did I Marry series. Did you guys watch that? Let me know if you watched it down below. But I hope Risa Teese is doing well. I heard she got a Netflix deal, so I hope all good things are to come for her. All right, so next scene, I was like, oh Lord, because Garcelle was picking out some clothes. I was like, no, anything but that, because her style's a little shaky. She's absolutely drop dead gorgeous, but the style is a little shaky. I will say, she posted something recently and she did look amazing, and she looked good on Watch What Happens Live. So I'm like, okay, maybe she has heard our cries and maybe she got a new team. So I think she's on the up and up. But like I said, when she first was up here looking at a Gucci bustier and all, I'm like, oh Lord, girl, stop. So she FaceTimes Sutton and she says, it's so random that Kyle is inviting us to dinner, because we're going to see her tomorrow and everyone at my beach house tomorrow. It's kind of weird, right? And Sutton acknowledges that. And Sutton says in her confessional that Kyle is basically rallying the troops before seeing the broader group so that she has some people on her side. And I said, clock it. And isn't that funny? Because that sounds very manipulative to me. And Kyle is always calling someone else manipulative. And that seems very manipulative and calculated to do that. So I love that Sutton saw that and saw through it. Garcelle has in her, we see a confessional and a flashback with Garcelle, and she's basically just really excited about inviting the women to her beach house and just really showing that labor of love that she's been working on for 3 years. So congratulations to Garcelle. That is such an amazing accomplishment, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous home. So then they all meet up at the Arden restaurant. That restaurant was gorgeous. I love a restaurant. I looked it up because I was like, oh my God, like I want to see the menu. I want to see what they serve. But they only have like 3.9 stars. I said, no, thank you. So anyway, but next time I'm in LA, if they're still open, maybe I'll like go take some pictures there, but I don't know if I'm going to eat there. So anyways, Kyle pulls up, sits down. She orders an extra hot latte. And it always fascinates me when people order things extra hot. I'm like, why would you want that? That hurts my tongue, but whatever. Garcelle arrives. She orders a Kettle One martini. Kyle, so they actually got into quite a bit. I didn't realize it the first time I watched how much they kind of dove in. So Kyle says she's doing much better. She's been having a lot of emotions still bubble up to the surface, but overall she feels better from her storm out. Then Kyle tried to low-key reprimand Garcelle because she said in a very like roundabout way, oh, Erica's mentioned that you showed my text to Bose and I was surprised because like you don't even know her. Like she didn't say straight up, yo, why did you show her that? Like, that's not your place, or that's weird that you did that. She didn't say that directly, but she said this roundabout way of basically saying that she wasn't happy that Garcelle did that. And thank God that Garcelle stood firm and said in her confessional, you know, I didn't think it'd be a problem. I don't consider that any sort of betrayal because you read it to a whole group of us. And on camera. Garcelle couldn't say that part, but I'm sure she meant to also say, girl, you said it on camera, like it's fair game. So she held firm, which I liked. Kyle then says she was taken aback with everyone just kind of sitting around asking her to read the text, and referenced a cult for the second time this episode because she had also said in her conversation with Erica, what kind of cult is this? Or what is this, a cult? Something like that. So enter eye roll there. Garcelle tries to a little grace and tries to give her something to stand on by saying, you know, hey, it's normal if you talked some ish about Dorit at any point with PK. Sometimes we mess up, sometimes we do that. So why don't you just admit it? Because basically your text saying that you'll never share what he said to you, it alludes that you probably said some unfavorable things. So why don't you just admit to that? And now Kyle is like, oh, well, so then she starts backpedaling and doing the Cupid shuffle here. And she's like, oh, well, you know, of course we've had more conversations. Of course we've said more and had more dialogue back and forth, but you know, nothing about Dorit, nothing bad. And so Dorit and her, or not Dorit, I'm sorry. So then Garcelle in her confessional says, okay, so her story is changing. This doesn't feel right. And I have to say, because I don't know if I said this in another review or not. I don't think I did. Why are these women so focused on just one text? Because we're only focused on this one text. This is now what, the third episode that we're talking about it. But Kyle has now said 2 or 3 times, oh, we've been talking for years. We've known each other for 7 years. I'm sorry. Why are you talking to someone else's husband for years? Texts weren't explicit. But it's just the optics and the overall dynamic of it is just inappropriate to me. That doesn't fly with me. Okay. All right. So Kyle says back in her conversation with Garcelle that she doesn't like her character being questioned. Okay, girl, you're a broken record. And then she says, I pride myself in a confessional. I pride myself on being a truthful person. And so it's extremely frustrating being questioned. Flashback Kyle questioning other people and basically saying that in other instances that people need to be comfortable with being questioned. So in the situation with Denise, she's like, oh, well, this was brought to the group and now we have to discuss it. Then we cut to the situation with Erica, and she's saying behind Erica's back, Erica's going to have to answer more questions than she's probably comfortable with, but she has to do it. She has to do it. So it's interesting that when Kyle is not in the hot seat, Kyle's all about the questioning and all about the truth. But now that the tables are turned, it's a problem and the women are in a cult and, everyone needs to F off. So then after that conversation, we see Erica arrive. She orders an old fashioned. Sutton arrives in her crop top. They order appetizers. And then shortly after, Sutton's like, so why are we here? And Kyle said that she wanted to apologize. Erica immediately jumps in and says, oh, you don't need to apologize. I'm like, girl. So then Kyle says, I stand by what I said and how I felt, but I just went about it the wrong way. And, it was like a half apology. It was like half apology, half defending what she did. But then Sutton asked for more clarity and was really drilling her. Okay, so why do you feel like you need to apologize? What exactly are you apologizing for? And she just kept kind of firing at her, and it was given, name them. That's what it was giving. She was on that energy. And Sutton said in a confessional that she wants Kyle to recognize and apologize for the double standard that she sets. Basically, Kyle can make a scene and run out, but if anyone else does it, she wants to hold them accountable. She wants to get to the truth. She wants to chastise them for being a victim or for leaving the group. And so that's what Sutton said in her confessional. And Kyle was basically like, okay, girl, because after the name them, clarify, Kyle was just like, well, how about this? I apologize for everything. And she said, and by the way, let me apologize the way I want to apologize. I said, all right, fair. All right, Kyle, fair. So then Erica says in a confessional, they just need to leave Kyle alone. How did they act when talking about Sutton and Garcelle, well, how did they act when their husbands left? And she just kind of basically said, I highly doubt that they had their ish together. So give Kyle some grace. And I said, okay, that's fair. But Erica, I'm gonna need you to keep it cute because you don't want the smoke. So just leave it there. But it's fair what you said. So Kyle starts explaining how she felt, and Sutton says that she was disappointed that Kyle left. And Kyle said, we all have those moments. And Sutton said, yeah, but you've yelled at me for having those moments. So then Kyle says, well, the group needs a different way to go about these things. And I said, oh, interesting. Now that you're on the receiving end, now the group dynamics and how we go about confronting people needs to change. Very interesting. So Garcelle says in her confessional that Kyle wanted to smooth things over with this group because it would be the easiest to smooth things over with. And so then Sutton says in her confessional that Kyle is looking for allies. And I was like, I agree. I feel like on this show, Kyle values allies over friends. I don't think she cares that much about the women here than some of her real life friends, which is fine. But in this moment, I 100% agree. It was a power play, and it was a move to get people on your side. So Sutton says Kyle just wants allies. Erica Jane may be a minion, but Garcelle and Sutton are not. I said, ooh, I don't think Erica Jane's going to like that, but I agree. I've seen over the years how Kyle has treated Erica, and Erica, besides the Tahoe trip, has never really bucked up against Kyle. She Kyle has said she doesn't have any friends. You know, do you not have any real friends? She said to Erica at that astrology party. She said while they were in France, oh, she's boring. I don't think she wants to be here. She's always grumpy. And then at that reunion, Erica turned around and called Kyle the queen. I was just like, so yeah, it's giving minion because you have all this smoke for everybody else. But when it comes to Kyle, you're real hush mouth. You're real hush mouth. Like I said, they had their little thing in Tahoe, but I think usually in that relationship, Kyle has the upper hand. I 100% believe that. So yeah, it gives minion. Okay. So my note for this scene is Sutton and Garcelle, keep this energy, especially you, Sutton, because you, like I said, you got a few little zingers in here. So if you're saying you're not a minion, keep that energy. I have said this before. I'm going to keep saying it until we get to that reunion. I better see this at the reunion. And if I see you fold again or anything like that, I am done with you, girl. So keep this energy. You can do it. Okay, so then we get to Garcelle's beach house. She's checking in with the staff and expressing how excited she is to have the girls over. And the girls arrive first to Kyle's house because they're all going to ride down to Garcelle's together. So they all come in one by one. And then it's interesting to note when Bose came in. She looked really cute, by the way. I loved her dress and her earrings. When Bose came in, Kyle was like, oh, here I am. I just look like a baked potato with no salt and no butter. And she said it 2 or 3 times. And I was like, yes, you do, but move on. Like, just say she looks nice and move on. It was very, very weird. I don't know if she was fishing for compliments or I don't know what that was. It was weird, but girl, you had the longest time to get ready. Everyone came to see you. You didn't have a commute time. You had the longest time to get ready, so you could have got cute too. I don't know what the problem is. So anyway, and so Bose immediately clocks Kyle again. I need a Kyle clock like tally because this has to be number 10. Bose pretty much points out how trifling Kyle is for not apologizing, for storming out, cursing, acting a fool at Bose's spa party. And Bose is like, oh, okay. Like, kind of like noted, okay, that's what we doing now? Oh, okay. So, Bose, pointed that out. So the women have their pleasantries and then someone asked Dorit how she's doing, and she's just like, oh, I don't even know what day it is. So then she shared on a walk with Jagger that Jagger asked if PK and Dorit were divorced. And he had heard or saw something that Dorit posted on Instagram. And he asked if they're still going to be best friends, and Dorit says, oh, I sure hope so. And before she even gets like that full like sentence out, Sutton. So before she even gets that sentence out, Sutton like jumps in really awkwardly. And she's like, speaking of best friends, we have to get down to Garcelle's and she wants a really nice day and it's time to go. We got to go and we got to get going. And Dorit tries to salvage what she was saying. She was kind of like, okay, before I was rudely interrupted. And you can tell she's just trying to, that jolted her as it would anyone. And so I think she was just trying to figure out where she left off in her story. And so she was like, okay, so, and then Sutton interrupts again. And she's like, no, but we have to go. Like she was so antsy and like frantic. I was like, girl. And she's like, no, like, but we do have to go. And then she's like, that's a long walk y'all went on. Basically saying the walk between with Jagger and Dorit must have been so long because of this long story. Sutton is an idiot. She's so stupid. So that was funny. Obviously it was not funny for Dorit or anyone in the room. I'm sure it was very awkward. Like, what the? So... And then it cuts to a couple of confessionals and it cuts to Erica saying that Sutton needs to have more tact. I said, that's rich coming from you. Dorit calls her a strange pumpkin in the scene. and is. And then Kyle says in her confessional that Sutton has rules for everyone else but herself. And I said, girl, pop me kettle. Okay? So then they finally arrive to Garcelle's beautiful house. Kyle gives Garcelle her props, basically saying it's amazing that she worked her butt off and accomplished this and has such a beautiful home, and she must feel so great about herself. So that was really nice. Garcelle hands out pajamas, and Dorit was mad to take off her carefully curated outfit. And I was like, you're wearing a black shirt and like a white romper. I was like, I feel like Dorit has had some curated outfits. I don't think this was one of them, but she played along. Then Jennifer Tilly gives Garcelle a Dolce & Gabbana $700 toaster, which looked so cute. So they all go to the beach. Kyle and Dorit actually go off together, or they meet up at the bar and they go off together to talk. And they basically squash the conversation. But in the conversation, Dorit was asking Kyle, okay, did you ever consider us friends? Do you consider us friends? Do you want to salvage this relationship? And the whole time Kyle is saying yes, kind of agreeing along the way. And then Dorit brings up the line of, just know that I'll never repeat anything that you said. And she says, I know that you're trying to position yourself as a safe space for him, but, are you my friend or are you his friend? And basically, where does your loyalty lie? And so Kyle still claims, he's never said anything about you. I didn't know. I didn't think it got to the point where I had to choose sides. And it's like, you're a liar, Kyle. You weren't talking to one side of the party. So because you're reaching out to another side, you've already chosen sides. What do you think that is? She's whatever. So Dorit eats it. She didn't say it, or maybe they cut it out, but Dorit didn't even call her out on it. She just wanted to move forward. And she just said, let's get to a place where we can openly share with each other again. And if we do move forward, I need you to be on my side. She didn't say this verbatim, but it was essentially, you need to be my friend. You're either my friend or his, because this middle stuff is not going to work. And so they agree to move on. Kyle says something in her confessional, basically saying that women need to support women. And I'm like, finally, because you've been saying it, I haven't seen it. So hopefully we'll start to see it a little bit more. So they eat some food. They all sit down. The tablescape was beautiful. They all have some good looking food. They start playing some different question games. And then somehow they get to the point of saying that Erica's never been in love. And it was just funny because we can juxtapose that with Bo saying that she's a hopeless romantic, and she has a part of her that wants to be careful, but then she's kind of like, shh, shh, shh. So she's, she just loves love. And then Jennifer Tilly basically talked about, she's in love right now, but she also loved her first husband and who passed away. And she said, he's always around me. And, I'm always just thanking him, whenever I pull up to valet or if I buy something nice, I just say, thank you, Sam. And I said, I would be doing that too, because he hooked her up in that divorce settlement. So I'm glad she didn't have a tumultuous divorce and seemed like they parted on good terms. And same when he passed away. So that's always good to hear. So then later on, the women, Garcelle organized them to have those lantern kite thingies. I don't know what they are, but those inflatable lanterns. And basically the idea is to make a wish and then have it kind of go off into the universe. They did not work. It was just a hot mess. I don't know if it was too windy. I don't know what the issue was, but they did not work. And so they were just having fun trying and just being really silly, and half of them on the ground just laughing and peeing themselves, and a mess. So all in all, it was a pretty good episode. It was some levity. There were some laughs. I really enjoyed the Kyle accountability piece, and I just hope this goes through reunion, because we've had some inklings of people kind of getting on one page with Kyle, about Kyle, I should say, but then she always weasels out of it. You know, that Denise season, before it became all about Denise, it was a lot of them talking about Kyle. It was Dorit having issues with Kyle. They were all pointing out the weirdness of Kyle and Teddy's relationship. Garcelle was saying that, you know, you just phase right over me. And, Garcelle had some problems with Kyle. And then Miss Richards went in there and spun that whole thing around and brought in Brandy and Kim to talk about this Denise rumor. So then everything shifted. So we'll see. We'll see. I think even though hopefully we don't get, more of the Dorit versus Kyle. Hopefully that is squashed. But, hopefully they continue to hold her accountable. So I'm interested to see where this season goes. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts as well. So please drop down below your thoughts. What did you think about this episode? Did you enjoy it? Do you think that this truce with Dorit and Kyle will hold true? Do you think that Bose is accurately clocking Kyle? Do you think that Kyle's reaching out to Erica, Garcelle, and Sutton was manipulative, or do you think she just genuinely wanted to be with her girls and apologize? Let me know below, and let me know how this season's going for you. It's going on an upswing now, because like I said, it started off a little slow for me, but the past couple episodes it's been heating up. So I'm excited. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts below, and we'll see each other again in the next video. Bye.